Hi and welcome to this talk about using a martial art to do a test. And perhaps the title sounds funny for you, but the problem behind the scenes, it's not funny. So let me introduce me first. My name is Sacco. I work as developer since 2007 using different languages. Most of them are connected with the JVM like Kotlin, Scala, Java, PHP, Node.js, and many others. I participate as technical reviewer on some of the biggest editorials around the world. So the editorial or the publisher send me a manuscript about a book, a chapter. I do some corrections and send the corrections to the publisher. I write some books, some theoretical practical scenarios. Some of them appear in the presentation. You have my contact information on the presentation, my LinkedIn, my email. So if you have any doubts, any question after the presentation, please contact me and I will try to help you as soon as possible. Context of the situation. So you need to find a way to create an integration test and end-to-end in a simple way. And you need to find a tool that not depend for a specific framework. It's not connected with the tool that I use on my backend. So if you use Go or if you use Java and Spring Boot or use Quarkus, whatever of this library, I want to be agnostic to this decision. I want that have a simple syntax so I can write tests in a simple way without need to know a lot of words or keywords or a lot of dependencies that I need to add that on my project or on some tool to work. And I want that this test or this library or this way to create my test I want to use for other purpose, like run my performance test. And last, need to be simple to implement. I not want to spend 3 weeks or on a month to understand how a tool works and how I can create my test. So, but before to go in deep, I need to explain some concept, which is BDD, behavior-driven development. And it's oriented to the behavior of the application. It's put the emphasis on what I want to check, what is the normal behavior of some part of my application. More interaction between different people because use a simple way to explain what I want to do. So if have a common lexic or common language, I can involve other people, not just developer or not just tester or QA. I can involve business analysts, CTOs, and people from other teams. It's a simple way to document and test my applications. It's not connected directly with one specific language. It's a concept that is not connected, okay, it's something related with Java or is connected with Go or any of these languages. And use some keywords like given, when, then. So which libraries implement this BDD? Well, there are a few of them. JBehavior, which is the oldest in the case of Java, Spock, CodeTest in the case of Kotlin, Karate, and Cucumber. And there are something in common between Cucumber and Karate. More or less have the same file or the same way to write the test, but behind the scenes do different things. So if you know Cucumber, Karate is not so strange for you. And why I want to use Karate? Which are the things that I want to taking consideration to say, okay, I want to use karate. First one is agnostic to the language and the framework. So imagine that in your team you have an application that uses Quarkus, and for some reason you want to do a migration to a Spring Boot, and it's okay, you don't need to rewrite any kind of test on your application because it's not necessary, not taking consideration any resource or any connection with the with this framework. So in the case that you want change framework, it's okay. In the case that you use for an integration test instead of an end-to-end. Allow to create a black box test. In most of the cases, the developers use the integration test to modify something related with the context, create a mock or create an stub. It's like the external communication of my application. In the case that someone used this ID or this particular parameter, I change the behavior. And at some point, you manipulate the source code. The idea of the use of karate is like, okay, I send you a request, I only wait and check the results without any kind of modifications on the behavior of my source code. You can do it, but the idea, the spirit of the library is try to test like a black box. And it's simple to have a simple syntax, and you can use it not just for the integration test, you can use it for end-to-end test, you can use it for functional or regression test. How looks like the syntax? Well, the syntax more or less looks like this. You use a keyword which is a scenario, and in a scenario you declare the name of the test or the things that you want to check. The only keyword here is a scenario. After the word scenario, you can put everything that you want. And you have some keywords like given, and on given you declare the URL to do the request. You declare the parameters, which is the method that you will invoke: post, get, delete, patch. And after that, at the end appears the word then, that implies the things that you will check. In this case, I will check that when I do a HTTP request to this URL, I want or I wish receive a 201 status. And you can check the response. Let me show you an example of this, but for the purpose that I don't have time to do it in 10 minutes, I will skip. Some best practices about the use of karate. First one, try to use wildcard with random values like the IDs or the dates, or when you create a new registry or a new entity in a database, try to take in consideration this and use wildcard like not null and these kind of things. After that, define the structure of creating files for each test, like, okay, this part, and this part is part of one test. After that, not include the JSON on the feature file. Please try to use an external file and load in your test. It's a common way to reuse these JSON files between different tests, and it's more simple for anyone in the company to understand or read what do my test. Reuse a scenario. This is a common good practice in the case that you want to do something that is have some kind of repetition, like populate a database or check or send some request to some specific endpoint, like a precondition. So you can do it. Have different profile to run the end-to-end test to the performance test. It's a common way to not mix Karate with Gatling in the case that you want to run in separate steps on a pipeline. A create function in the case that you need it, for example, to obtain the actual date or to transform or split some string of the response to validate. Here are some additional resources and books that contain different information about the use of Cucumber or BDD or how you can think in the way that the things that you need to take in consideration to create a test, and some blogs that contain useful information to take in consideration to the use of Karate. And that's it. Thanks for assist to this talk. Bye.